Title: She collapsed in my garden, holding her child, and whispered, "Please don't let them take her." The morning air was thick with the scent of blooming roses and fresh grass. The sun hung lazily in the sky, casting long shadows over the garden as I knelt by the flower beds, planting seeds for the season. My quiet life on the outskirts of town had always suited me. Far from the hustle and bustle, with only the chirping of birds and the rustling of the trees for company. I relished the solitude. But that morning everything changed. As I moved to the next row of flowers, a faint sound reached my ears. It was almost like the wind, but the wind didn't carry the desperate, hurried footsteps that echoed now. My heart skipped a beat, and I looked up, scanning the peaceful surroundings. That's when I saw her. A woman stumbling across the garden, clutching a small child to her chest. She collapsed in the middle of my garden, her knees buckling as she fell to the ground. The child, a girl no older than 4, was limp in her arms. My first instinct was to run to her, but something held me back, a gut feeling that something was terribly wrong. I rushed over, my pulse pounding in my ears. "Are you all right?" I asked, kneeling beside her, my hand gently reaching for her arm. She gasped, her eyes wide with fear, and as she looked at me, I saw the terror in her gaze. Her face was pale, covered in dust, and her clothes were torn. But it wasn't the physical exhaustion that drew my concern. It was the child she held. "Please," she whispered hoarsely, her voice barely audible. "Please don't let them take her." I felt a chill run down my spine. "Who's going to take her? Who are you running from?" I asked, my voice trembling despite myself. The desperation in her voice shook me. She clutched the little girl even tighter, as if the mere thought of losing her was too much to bear. Her breath came in shallow gasps, and I could feel the weight of her words pressing on me like a heavy burden. "Please," she repeated, her voice cracking. "They'll come for us. They've been chasing us for days. I don't know where else to go." I glanced down at the child, her tiny face so pale and still. I could see no visible injuries, but the faint blue hue to her lips sent a pang of fear through my chest. Whatever this woman was running from, it was more than just a physical threat. It was something that had already taken a toll. I could hear the sound of hooves in the distance, the heavy beat of galloping horses. I turned quickly, scanning the horizon. In the distance, a group of riders emerged from the trees, their figures casting long, dark shadows against the sun. My heart raced. "They're here," the woman said, her voice barely a whisper. "Please, don't let them take her." Without thinking, I scooped the child into my arms and stood. "Come with me," I said, my voice urgent. "I have a cabin, it's hidden from the road. They won't find you there." She looked up at me, her eyes searching mine, as if weighing her options. She nodded faintly and staggered to her feet, holding onto my arm for support. We moved quickly, the sounds of hooves growing louder. The riders were drawing closer, their faces obscured by the dust storm they kicked up in their wake. I knew I couldn't outrun them. I had no weapon, no way to defend myself or the woman and child. But I had to try. As we reached the edge of the garden, I led them into a dense thicket of trees behind my house. The cabin was small but sturdy, built far enough from the main road to remain hidden. We reached the cabin just as the riders came into view, their dark silhouettes cutting through the haze of the dust. The woman collapsed against the doorframe, her legs too weak to support her. "Please," she gasped, clutching her daughter to her chest once more. "You don't understand. They'll hurt her. They'll—" I didn't let her finish. I pushed the door open and ushered them inside, shutting it behind us just as the riders began to circle the perimeter of the property. We were safe for now. The woman sank to the floor, her face pale with exhaustion. She cradled her child in her arms, tears streaming down her face. "They were going to sell her," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "They wanted to use her, her blood. They need her for something horrible." The weight of her words hit me like a punch to the gut. I didn't understand it fully, but the urgency in her voice left no room for doubt. Whoever these people were, they were dangerous. I knelt beside her, my hand resting on her shoulder. "You're safe now. I won't let anyone take her." The woman looked up at me, gratitude and exhaustion flooding her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You don't know what this means to us." I didn't answer. I didn't need to. In that moment, the only thing that mattered was the little girl who still lay motionless in her arms. I had no idea what these people were after or why they needed this child, but I knew one thing for certain. I would protect them both no matter the cost. As the hours passed, I kept a watchful eye on the cabin's windows, listening to the distant sound of riders searching nearby. But as the night wore on, the sounds faded into the distance. They hadn't found us. Not yet. For now we were safe. But I knew it wouldn't be long before they returned. The battle for the child's freedom had only just begun. As the first light of morning broke over the horizon, a distant sound of hooves echoed through the stillness, growing louder by the second. I stood in the doorway of the cabin, the weight of what lay ahead pressing heavily on my chest. The woman and child slept peacefully for the moment, unaware of the danger that was closing in. Just as I turned to check on them one last time, the man with the scar appeared in the clearing. His eyes were filled with urgency, and he motioned for us to move quickly. "They're almost here," he said, his voice low and serious. "We need to go now." Without a word, I gathered the woman and child, helping them to their feet. The woman's face was drawn with exhaustion, but there was no time to waste. I glanced toward the rising dust cloud in the distance. Whoever they were relentless. We made our way through the dense forest behind the cabin, moving as quickly and quietly as possible. The man with the scar led us, always ahead, always watchful. We had no plan, no guarantees, just the hope that we could outrun the men hunting us. As we reached a clearing, the sound of hooves grew louder, then abruptly stopped. I turned, my heart pounding. From the shadows emerged a group of riders, ruthless, determined. The man with the scar stepped forward, blocking their path, and without a word, he raised his hand. A flash of light erupted from his palm, and the riders fell back, disoriented. I took the woman's hand. "Go," he said, his voice strained. "I'll hold them off." With no time to waste, we sprinted into the woods, the sounds of battle fading behind us. For now we were safe. But I knew this was only the beginning of the fight. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Okay.